Hello, welcome everyone to our first meeting of 2021. I'm Stephen Buckland, the current president of the Western Pennsylvania Mushroom Club, and welcome to our February 16th meeting. This is our first meeting of the year, and I wanted to start off by just thanking everyone who volunteers for the club and acknowledging people who are volunteering for the club in a new role this year. We had a change in 4 out of 5 of our board members, and at the end of last year, Chris Morosky and Brian Cass became chairs of the membership and scholarship committee, respectively. So yeah, just a lot of thanks to everyone who volunteers their time to help make this club what it is. So this year is going to bring some changes to how we meet. I'm going to go over some of the changes, but ultimately the goal is still the same: to promote fungi, fun, and friends. So new this year, something we're going to try out tonight is a mushroom ID breakout room. So after the speaker's presentation, we'll open up a breakout room. And if you want to go to that room, you can hang out with Garrett Taylor and Kara Coulter, and they'll help you identify any mushrooms that you've seen over the winter. So if you've got photos of those mushrooms, if you've already posted them to iNaturalist, that'll be the easiest way to share and look at those. And yeah, should be fun. Also coming to your inbox or mailbox soon will be the March-April newsletter. There's 5 newsletters throughout the year. They're bi-monthly, and there's lots of fun articles in this first edition of the newsletter. Also, submissions are always welcome. If there's something you'd like to contribute to the newsletter, contact our editor, Cecily Franklin. Okay, in terms of walks that have happened since the end of last year, our last meeting in November, the only walk that happened over the winter was at Heartwood Acres with Richard Jacob back on November 27th. So here's a couple pictures from that day. Yeah, it seems like we had a pretty good turnout, found a lot of cool stuff. There's a post written about the species list on our website if you wanted to go back and see what we found in November at Heartwood Acres. In terms of upcoming walks, in April and May, there are some walks with Julie Travellini from Allegheny Land Trust, April 30th at Devil's Hollow, and May 23rd at Barking Slopes. They're free for members. You can register at Allegheny Land Trust website, and registration is limited to the first 15 people. And these are some events that I'm hosting for the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. These are not in-person events, they're virtual events. So on April 28th, I'm going to do a webinar on spring fungi. That'll be in the evening, 6 to 7 p.m. And on April 30th, that's the start of the City Nature Challenge. So I'll be doing a live hike on Facebook, showing people how to use iNaturalist and how to participate in the City Nature Challenge. So those are some upcoming walks and virtual walks. In terms of other club events this year, we've got our monthly meeting, the 3rd Tuesday of every month, February through November, and we'll have Mushroom Education Day on Saturday, August 21st. This year it's Dye Day, so we'll have walks in the morning, or a free morning walk, and then if you want to attend the afternoon session, it's $10. Judy McEnroth will be sharing how to dye with fungi. That'll be in North Park. Oh, and if you're interested in registering for Dye Day, if you go to our website and go to the events page, you'll have to scroll to the 2nd page of events since this is in August, and then click the listing for Dye Day, And once you click that, you'll find a form where you can input your name and pay the $10 fee to register. Our annual Gary Linkoff Memorial Foray is going to take place the weekend of September 18th at the Rose Barn in North Park. There will be a pre-foray walk at Cook Forest. I'm really looking forward to that. So it's our biggest event of the year. Hopefully we'll be able to have the foray this year in person. But yeah, we'll see how things unfold with COVID. Registration for the main event is $55 for non-members, $35 for members. Science Sunday this year will also be at the Rose Barn in North Park, and it's going to be workshops, and it will require registration as well. So more details on that as we get closer to September. These are our speakers for the foray this year. So we'll have Leon Chernoff, the editor of Mushroom, the Journal of Wild Mushrooming. He gave a presentation for our club last year, so a lot of folks have seen him speak before. But yeah, it'll be pretty awesome to have Leon here in Pittsburgh, and we'll also have Michael Kuo from mushroomexpert.com. So really awesome speakers. Should be a really fun event. In terms of our membership report, here are some of our latest membership numbers. At the end of last year, we had 897 members from 499 households. And as of February 10th, so I just got on today and checked, but I don't think it's been updated since February 10th. But we had 943 members and 526 households. So we may have even more members at this moment. I don't know, Chris, if you wanted to jump in and update, you're welcome to. If not, that is also okay. But yeah, this is for the folks who are maybe watching the recording on our YouTube channel. If you're interested in joining our club, it's $15 for an individual, $20 for a family, or $10 for a current student. And there's a lot of benefits to membership. Aside from the ones listed here on the slide, you also get our bi-monthly newsletter. You get updates on mushroom walks and other events sponsored by the club, and you get a discount at our annual Gary Linkoff foray. All right. So now we'll get into our Mushroom ID Awards. So our Button ID program recognizes club members who can identify different species of fungi. Buttons are awarded at the 10, 25, 50, 75, 100, 150, and 300 level. I think that's all of the different levels of buttons that there are. And members can submit their list for verification to the email above. And tonight we wanted to recognize 4 members for their work over the wintertime. So Hannah George and Sarah Klingensmith both submitted 2 different lists over the winter months. So Hannah George got her 25 pin and her 50 pin. Sarah got her 75 and 100. And then we have 2 members who are entering identifier status. So we've got Julie Travellini and Judy McEnroth, who both submitted lists of 150 species. So congratulations to both of them for becoming new club identifiers. And if you're interested in earning a Mushroom ID button, submit your list to that email. And I just wanted to share that responsibilities of club identifiers and mycologists includes leading walks for the club, working at our identification tables, entering species lists for the walks, approving mushrooms for serving, and answering questions from the media. All right. So next month.
I can listen to it. They're just introducing stuff. Talking about crust mushrooms, nothing too exciting. What you doing?
I would disagree.
You got a lot of water in there.
Can someone mute that person? All right, so next month's meeting is really exciting. It's going to be with Trent and Kristen Blizzard. They're going to be presenting on mushroom preservation. So we're really excited for them to join us from Colorado. They just released a book titled Wild Mushrooms, a cookbook and foraging guide. So they're going to tell us all about how to preserve mushrooms for use throughout the year. All right. Any questions or other announcements before I introduce tonight's speaker? All right. Well, without further ado, I shall introduce our speaker tonight. We're really excited to be on the same Zoom call here with Maricel Pation, an active member of the New Jersey Mycological Association. She's been a part of their club since 2016. And as Maricel puts it, she is an amateur mycologist who works to earn money, to buy gas, to go to parks, to collect fungi, to study them. She's active on iNaturalist, having posted over 300 different species of fungi with a special focus on the heterogeneous group known as crust fungi. Maricel sent me a little bio. She says she met fungi on August 31st, 2015, when she saw a 2-foot wide polypore at the side of a path. It was a Berkeley's polypore. At the beginning, she grabbed any fungi that were in front of her face. During 2 winters, she couldn't find any fungi, so she started studying lichens, liverworts, and moss until she learned that there were fungi called crusts, and all you needed to do was turn over logs to find them almost any time of the year. After that, she fell in love with them and has observed them and worked in their microscopy for about 2 years. So yeah, I'll turn things over to Maricel.
Hello, thank you for the invitation. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay, good.
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, okay. So fall in love with crust fungi. This is a photo of Fabulosis crassa. I found it in front of my house on a little tiny stick. You wouldn't believe how little this stick was. This is a piece of a blade of grass, and it was a very young crust. And I will go to the next. All right. So here, the real delight of corticoid crust fungi is revealed only when they are taken home and put under the microscope with high magnification. Larson says those words. The contents are going to be 1, what is a crust fungus, 2, micromorphology, 3, micromorphology, and 4, sources and resources. Here I put 4 examples of different types of crusts: Botriobasidium conspersum, Stereon lobatum, Flevia radiata, Bisomerulius corium. But I will, as I show examples, I will explain more things about them. What is a crust fungus? A crust fungus is a spreading fruit body that presents itself in a variety of forms. It could be very thin or have a substantial thickness. Here I put 3 examples of other types of crusts. The one in the left is a lichen, and it's a crustose type of lichen. The one in the center is an ascomycete, and the one in the right is a resupinate polyp. in this presentation, I'm not going to talk about resupinate polypores. Only the crust that don't present pores on the surface. So this is not a natural taxon, which means that these cross that I put together in this presentation belong to many different families, like around 10. Okay, so in the ones that I am going to show you, there are two groups. One is called heterobasidiomycetes, and the other one is called homobasidiomycetes. Heterobasidiomycetes means that the basidia, the reproductive organ, is divided. It could have transversal or longitudinal septa. So these two examples in the left are heterobasidiomycetes. The one down, the pink one is called Tulasnella violea. The one in the right is called Exdiopsis grisea. And there is another characteristic of the heterobasidiomycetes is the production of secondary spores. And then in the right is the regular, if I can say that, type of basidia. It's full, it's complete. The same kind that we find on the gill and polypores. And the pink one is Corticium roseum, and the one on the lower right is Phebaliopsis gigantea, and it's a very young specimen, so it has teeth. Simple fruit bodies. Crust fungi have very simple fruit bodies with varied aspects. So number one is the smooth. It's called Vararia investiens. Number two is Flevia tremelosa. It's merulioid. Number three is Poroteleum fimbriatum, which doesn't really, it belongs to the cephaloid family. It's considered poroid. Number four is Flevia species. It has granules and warts. Number five is Hyphodontia that has small teeth. It's a denticulate. Number six is Bisocorticium atrovirens. It's bisoid cottony. Number seven is Tomentella species. It's arachnoid, loose. Number eight is Senamastella species. It's almost invisible to the eye when it's dry. And number nine is Attilia species, which is very thin. And I also have one more that it could be dusty. This is Botriobasidium simile. You touch it and you carry spores back home with you. So I wrote the names of what I just told you. Color is nevertheless essential for identification of a crust. So on the left, I have Bisomerulius corium. When it's young, it's white and creamy, and it has like a raised edge. When it's old, it turns into like kind of a reddish color, and it becomes like a piece of paper, and the margin lifts up. Here on the right side, there is Leucogyrophana olivascens. When it's young, it has a big white margin that is cottony, and it looks wrinkled, but when it matures, it stretches, and it acquires this beautiful dark olive tone. More than a rainbow of crusts. Okay, so crust fungi are not just plain. As other fungi, they come in a wide range of colors. So this one, number one, is Corticium roseocarneum, is lavender and pink. Number two is Flevia coccineofulva. It has like a coral red tone with yellow chrome. Number three is Hypnoflevia chrysorrhiza, which has orange colors and yellow. Number four is Flevia subocrasea, who has, that has yellow and white colors. Number five is a green Tomentella that I found once in Wawayanda. Number six is a Maurodonmus tialaensis. It's beautiful, it's green and blue mixed, and the spores are blue. I found it once. Number 7, Bisocorticium pulchrum, is kind of cottony and has some type of blue color. Number 8, that was the Flevia crassa that I showed you before. Number 9 is a Tomentella species and is growing on charcoal and is brown. Number 10 is Dendrophora versiformis and the color is black-blue. Number 11 is Trechispora species and is cream color, and number 12 is Atelia, which is white. I wrote the names in there. The only photo that is not mine is Flevia coccineofulva, is by Alan Rockefeller. That's the only one in this list that I haven't found, I'm sorry. Feeding habits. So most crust fungi are wood-destroying organisms. They obtain their nutrients from the decomposing of wood substrate, such as cellulose and lining. A smaller group are constituents of soil mycoflora. They use the wood only as a support for their fruiting bodies. Some crusts are mycorrhizal. The same thing, they just use the wood as a support. Some crusts parasitize lichen. There is an Atelia species that parasitize lichens and make them look white. They parasitize polypores and other fungi. And few crusts inhabit alive trees and small plants. And I'm going to show you examples of that. So on the upper left, there is a crust growing on very rotten deciduous wood. The one in the center, Cylindrobasidium laeve, is growing on a deciduous wood. Xylobolus frustulatus in the right is growing on oak. I think it exclusively grows on oak, and the wood is so hard. Then down in the left, there is Tomentella species using the pine wood as a support. Next is Cystotrema species, is growing on a polypore and several caps and on the wood too. On an alive tree is Dendrotele corniculata. This one is a fir tree. And right here, I found Tomentella species growing at the base of Canterellus cinereus, but I didn't have the right photo. But I was surprised to see that. Okay, so now, oops. Oh, I can't see the title. This one is called, this is Estecherino nocraseum, is parasitizing another crust. You may know this one is called Hypnoporia olivacea, which is very common. And so this one is growing on it and is showing the teeth of Hypnoporia olivacea. And on the right, I have Chromelosporium fulvum, which is the asexual stage of Pezaiza. But still, people who study crusts, they study those too. There are several species of Chromelosporium. Now, micromorphology. The fruiting body of crust could be just resupinate, could be cupulate discoid, could be effuse reflexed, could be dimidiate, fan-shaped stipitate. So you can see a few of what they are talking about in the right, and I'm going to show you a few examples. Resupinate, this is the general fruit body type among the Cortisia. So at the left, I have Senamastella species, which is very thin, and when it's dry, you can hardly see it, and it doesn't have like a particular margin. It just like vanishes when it's running out on the wood. And on the right, I have Peniophora incarnata, and you can see that it has a margin that is lighter in color. Now, cupulate discoid. Not to be confused with margins that lift when crust is dry. So right here I have Estecherino bordeauxi, and it's growing like almost like a bell. You see that it starts like a little cap right here at the beginning of it, and it keeps adding zones that makes like a bell. And it has teeth on the hymenium, on the fertile part. This one in the right is a Leurodiscus species. This one looks like little plates. The margin is raised. This is Cylindrobasidium laeve, and this cross presents an unusual growth form that happens during the winter, and it forms kind of caps. So I turned 4 of them to show you the hymeneum, because from the top it could be confused with Plicaturopsis crispa, which has a merulioid hymeneum. Effuse reflexed. In some crust, a pileus will develop along the upper part of the basidiocarp. On the left, you can see Bisomerulius corium. It's called the band-aid crust because it runs like really long and it has that edge. And I think it's kind of stretchy. Then it's Merulius tremelosus. I'm sorry, it's Flevia tremelosa, but it used to be known with that name too. And it forms caps. This one is very young, but when it's mature, it has big caps. I'm going to show you examples of that too. And in the right, there is Silobulus subpileatus, who forms caps, growing laterally and with the resupinate part too. Dimidiate fan-shaped stipitate. And I could not find better examples for this as in the steroid fungi. The arrows are showing the types, where they are growing from. But stereom species can grow like a fan or like a shell, like a vase, and crust underneath the wood too. A little bit of everything. This is Stecherinum ocraceum. I have 2 examples right there. It could grow as a resupinate crust. And here I found another Stecherinum that it looks like Stecherinum ocraceum, but I could never get to the species because it was growing with a foot here. And I have found several species of Stecherinum. I found this one near my house. It's called Stecherinum robustius. I found it in the winter. I found this Stecherinum and nobody knows it. Here I sent a sample to Karen Nakasone and she confirmed that it was Stecherinum, but nobody knows it. And it's gelatinous. The whole thing is like made out of ice. And this is a polypore, but the name is Stecherinum nitidum, belongs to this family. The one down in the left is Stecherinum subrawacense. Somebody found it in one of our forays. And it looks like a bracket and it has teeth, like Stecherinum, exactly the same type. This Heterodon fimbriatum used to be called Stecherinum fimbriatum, and now it has this new name and apparently doesn't belong to this family anymore. And this is another example of Stecherinum bordotii. It grows caps and bells with the teeth underneath. Crust fungi could be dramatic, and this one is dramatic, invasive, and beautiful. This is one of my favorites. It's called Radulomyces copelandii. And there is another cross that is called Radulomyces paumanocensis. Karen Nakasone, she is the expert on Flevia species in, I think, in the world. She found this one and she's studying it, and she named it Radulomyces paumanocensis, and it has a different growth habit from Radulomyces copelandii, which grows as a cross and has simple teeth. And this one grows on the top of the wood. It grows more bunched and the teeth are divided. But she told me that she worked on their DNA and they are exactly the same, but she's not sure yet if this is a variety or is a species on its own. Bruising and staining. So crust fungi are not boring. They surprise you with aspects like this one. And if you don't touch them, nothing will happen. You have to injure them, mark them, or rub them. There are 5 species of Stereum that bruise or stain, but I only know 4. This one is Stereum sanguinolentum, which grows on conifers. I'm delighted to find it, and I like to rub it to see the reaction. And then after a while, the reaction disappears. It's really strange. This is Asterion subtomentosum, which bleeds first yellow, then orange, and then brown. And it stays dark brown. And this is Asterion gauzapatum that grows only on oak wood. And you rub it and it bleeds red. It's pretty dramatic. Other crops leave tracks on the wood. One day, I found this one in the winter, but I didn't know what it was. And by chance, when I took the sample of the wood was red underneath. And by chance, I took a photo of the wood, but I didn't know anything. And then finally, some people helped me to identify it. And some people mentioned that it stains the wood red. And I say, yes, that's the one. So I had that photo available. Hypnophlebia chrysorrhiza in the right. It's this gorgeous cross with teeth that are orange at the beginning, and then they become bleached. They lose that color, and it stains the wood too. And this loves beech wood. And many times you find only the cordons. It loves to just grow cordons, which means they are infertile. The weeping crust, one time I found this Dacryobolus sudans, and I learned what it was. Somebody helped me to identify it. So this has little teeth, and on the end of each tooth, there is a drop of some kind of liquid. So when I brought home the sample and I put it in a microscope, I saw this liquid hifa running in front of my eyes, and I was delighted. Hello? And these two slides are like few seconds apart. So the liquid hifa was flowing. Now we go with the construction of the fruit body. So in the left, I have a vertical section of a simple fruit body. Is composed of 3 parts. The hymenium, where the basidia goes, and other sterile features. And then the subhymenium is just below the basidia. Sometimes it's very narrow. It's just this little part right here, the orange arrow. And then the rest is called the subiculum, and is the part of the cross that attaches it to the wood. And right here, this is the vertical section of a cross that has teeth or words, and it has one more part. So it has the hymenium, but the basidia is oriented in a different direction. Then the subhymenium is just below the basidia layer, and then the trama is like the flesh, because they are thicker than a simple fruit body. And then the subiculum is the part that attaches the cross to the wood. So this in the right is a Peniophora cinerea, who loves to grow on deciduous wood, and is very thin. So it has only 3 parts. Here is an example of an odontoid hypnoid crust that has these long, flattened, irregular teeth, and is more fleshy, so it has trama, the central part of the teeth. Now, this is a very thin fruit body. It's an Amastela species, and it's so thin that it has only 2 parts. It has the hymenial part with the basidia and this other type of cystidia, and the subiculum, which is the layer that attaches to the wood. Hymenophore configuration. So it could be crater, grandinoid, hypnoid, erpicoid, merulioid, odontoid, poroid, reticulate, tuberculate, and more. But I'm only going to see those. So crater, this is a cross that I found. Now I have found it a few times. It's called Amphinema bisoides. It's so beautiful. You can see that it has the craters. I could not find the reason why this cross has the craters, has that aspect. That is really beautiful. Here it is growing surrounded by some resupinate polypo, and it likes burnt places. So there is a piece of burnt wood. And if you do microscopy of Amphinema bisoides, you will find all these hypha with incrustations. It's really beautiful. Now, grandinoid, it looks like tiny teeth. This is Hippodontia arguta. And you can notice that it presents some areas with smaller teeth and some areas have bigger teeth. And when you do the microscopy, it's beautiful. It has two types of cystidia. One looks like a dental drill, and the other one has like a capitate end with some halo. And it gives a beautiful aspect to the cross when you look with the lens, because all these types of cystidia are exerted beyond the basidia. Hypnoid, I don't know this one and I will never know. And this one is Flevia notophagy. They have long teeth. It could be pointy or irregular. Irpicoid also has teeth that are irregular and more flat. And if you do the microscopy of this one, you will see this cystidia that has a lot of incrustations. It's called lamprocystidia. Now, merulioid. All these 4 examples that are here are the same species, Flevia radiata. Merulioid. Okay, so the definition for merulioid is radial or net-like folds. The cross has a varied aspect. It has a margin. It loves deciduous wood or mossy woods and cracks where it bursts out, Flevia radiata. And also the color can fool you. It could be grayish, yellow, brownish. More merulioid, I have 2 examples here is Flevia rufa, which has some pink tones, and Flevia incarnata, which is thick. It could reach 5 millimeters in thickness, and it has like caps, and radially meruloid hymenium. Last merulioid is Flevia tremelosa, which is very common, and it can grow really big. And it develops like a cap, if I can call it like that, that runs laterally. And this is an example of the Flevia tremelosa when it's very young. It's lighter in color and it's like glassy, like gelatinous. Now, odontoid. Odontoid has small teeth or spines. This is Scopuloides rimosa. I found it several times now, and there are several species. It's beautiful. So it has these super tiny teeth that are here on the right, and the teeth are covered with exerted cystidia of 2 types. This is called septocystidia, which means that the cystidia is divided, and it has some contents and crystals. And it also has lamprocystidia. So it's really beautiful. Now I have poroid. This is Poroteleon fimbriatum. I told you before it belongs to the Cephaloid family. And I got this photo from online to show you that in reality, it's a group of tiny caps that are together and growing from a common subiculum. But it develops a margin and it has rhizomorphs or cordons. This one was growing on birch. Reticulate, net-like ridges. This is Serpula imantioides, and it likes to grow on conifers, and it starts as a pink methyl mycelium. You can see the pink tone on it. When it's young, it's creamy in color, and when it's old and mature, it gets this beautiful olive color. Olive rusty color, which is the color of its spore deposit. Now, fake reticulation. This is Leucogyrophana olivascens. When it's young, it has a big cottony margin and is kind of lemon green. and it's fakely wrinkly, and it stretches and it darkens the color. And it ends like a dark olive color when it's old. Tuberculate, sparse, irregular words, but here there are no sparse. The whole thing is tuberculate. This one, this cross, I found it near a body of water on a piece of wet rotten wood, and it smells like fruits, delicious. And I was surprised when I left it over the night and found the spore print the next morning, because it was exactly the same color of the crust. When I did the micro, I found this gloeocystidia, which was really long, this element right here, and the basidia was also very long. But I could never get to a species because nobody knows here in the US. So, but at least I know that it's gloeocystidiellum. Tuberculate, I have another example, is Dacryobolus carstenii. When it's young, it's creamy and it's hard, not watery like the one before, and it develops this beautiful brown reddish tone. Consistency, the fruit body can be very loose or really hard, like a horn. So it could be bisoid, farinaceous, ateloid, membranaceous, ceraceous, and flavioid. Before I continue with the consistency, I just wanted to share with you something that happened to me. I found these threads is two different crusts. One is a resupinate polypore and one is a crust. And I took it home and I did the microscopy of the white threads, and it was beautiful. It has these inflated shapes that give the name Hymenocystis. Trichispora hymenocystis. The other one is the Hinoflavia chrysorrhiza that I already told you that many times just grow the orange cordons everywhere. Bisoid means like cottony. Flocose. This is a very common cross, Botryobasidium conspersum, and there are many other Botryobasidium species, and the microscopic structures are huge. So it's a lot of fun to see them at the microscope. Farinaceous is mealy of loose construction, fragile. It has cordons and like words, kind of, or granules, if I can say that. So it's Trichispora species. I could never know what this one was. And Trichispora christianseni, I put some KOH on it, and it became like brown purplish. And then ateloid is pellicular, very thin. And when I was just learning about Atelias, I had a good time because for me, they look like a cross on stilts. The yellow arrow shows the upper layer that is kind of smooth, and underneath the blue arrow is showing what is underneath. It's like some kind of hifa raising the top layer. And the hifa that the blue arrow is pointing at is very loose. It's right here, the one right here with the incrustations. Membranaceous is a little thicker than Atelia, the one that I just showed you. Cortesian roseum is very common, but you still need to do the micro to make sure that it's what you're saying. And one thing about the Cortesian roseum is that if you injure it, it kind of turns a little darker pink. And it has a little raised margin and lighter in color. Ceraceous, there are so many Flavia species, and all I can get to is Flavia species because I don't know what they are. It's a lot of work. So they look like wax. You can see that more on the right example. Febloid, like horn when dry. This is Fleviosis gigantea that grows on conifer wood. It's very little, it's like 1 inch big. And this is the same species when it's really old. It lost the teeth. It has only some kind of low words there, and it's rolling up. How corneous and dry it is, and like horn. Micromorphology. So the crust have these different structures inside. simple septa, these little lines right there, simple septa. It has clamps, and it has verticillate clamps. It's like a set of those, maybe 6 of them. And here it has ampullate septa. It's inflated at this point. And it has different types of hypha that have different kinds of crystals or incrustations, which are very important to get to the species, because the difference between one species and the other one could be just the type of crystals that are on them. And then it has cordons. Many crusts have cordons or rhizomorphs, and some of them have a skeletal hypha, and some of them have a binding hypha. The basidia, because the crusts are not really one group, we found this variety of the shape of the basidia. So some basidia is really long, tubular, is constricted in the waist, is pleural, which means that it's growing laterally attached. And another cool thing about the crusts, they could have 2 sterigmata, 4, 6, and 8. Now the spores, you know how important the shape, the color, the size of the spores are. And in some crusts, in the Heterobasidiomycetes, they have spores that repetitive spores. They develop like a sterigmata one, and then a new spore is growing at the end of that. Only in few species this happens. Now types of cystidia are all the other elements that are infertile, and they are found on the sharing the space with the basidia. So we have all sort of fancy names in there, and they are important for defining, going down to the species. Some of them are called halocystidia, asterocystidia, lamprocystidia, etc. And those are the other sterile hymenian organs. And these Vararia investians have these kind of structures inside. This is really something, it's incredible. Aleurodiscos have these kind of structures, and Cortesium have dendroiphidia. And finally, when you collect the crust, you need to turn the logs and then put them back to honor the little creatures. You take all branch piles apart. You examine abandoned firewood, turn up abandoned pine planks in parks. I have found beautiful things on abandoned pine planks. Check wet drifted wood at riverside and other bodies of water. And here I have some of the books that I use permanently when I am studying the crust and trying to identify them. And there is a group called, there is a group in Facebook called Crust Fungi and Polypores, and there are several experts from around the world that could be contacted there, and they help you a lot. Some of them are the authors of the books that I have up there. And I contacted them, and they gave me the link for their galleries, which are beautiful and incredible, to become familiar with the way some of the crusts look. So if anybody have interest in crust, you can take note of this part right here. The end.
Wow, thank you, Maricel.
You're so welcome. You may have questions, but I may not be able to answer.
That was wonderful. Thank you.